Hello everyone, this is a video for Aimsun. I will try to do a series for actuated signals. So I think it would be nice if you start watching with this and then the next one will build on top of this one. So I start with the simplest situation I can think of, and that is a demand actuated arm. So this is a very simple intersection. There is a main line. So this is my major route. And this minor one is demand actuated. So that means we are going to give green to the main one all the time. And then the side arm will only get green if there is demand on it. But we are going to extend as long as there is demand on it to a maximum time, obviously. So what you need to do is, I already placed these, so let's just start from scratch. So I'm not going to show how I set up the model. It's very simple. You can just refer to my previous videos. So 3 centroids, I have some traffic there set up in the matrix. I already created a master control plan. This is very important. And here I already placed the nodes, and in the node I define 2 signal groups, one for each. So signal group 1 is that, signal group 2 is that. You need to select a turn for each. So 1 is this one. Signal group 2 is this one. Then you go to edit control plan by select it, the node first, then right click, edit control plan, and click this new control plan. This will bring up this empty sheet. What you need to do here is first select the type, actuated. It works similarly as a fixed one. You have the same settings, just a little bit more. I'm not going to go into the details of all settings because it is very complicated, I think, much more complicated than in Aimsun. So in each episode, I will try to just touch on different parts and show them in different models. So to keep things simple, as you can see, there is a barrier and ring 1. This is something we are not changing today, so just leave it as it is. And click Add Phase. Let's move that phase smaller, and also let's make the cycle time maybe 60 because it is a small intersection. Just a note, so a cycle time here doesn't have a lot of meaning in this case. It has some meaning, but not going to create like a fixed cycle time or anything. It's just like a reference. So I create some empty phases. So one for the main line, an intergreen, then another one, and then another intergreen. I just make the intergreen or interface or clearance time 6 seconds. So you select it and you click interface. So this will make it green, showing that it is an interface. Just to note, so Aimsun works on uses a totally different standard than Aimsun. So in Aimsun and usually in Europe they use this actuation where you set everything up by logical steps. But Aimsun uses a system that is more popular in other countries like Australia, America, and so on, where there is like these rings, barriers, and detectors, and so it works in a different way, the way they code it or you code it in. So we have these 4 phases. So we need to assign then for the first one the signal group. So in the first phase we have signal group 1, and in the second one we have signal group 2. So at this stage it looks normal. As you can see, there is a bit of error here. Let me just correct that. So I just double click and select this turn, and with holding, sorry, let me go to main, and by holding shift down when you click, you can just select both lanes, so it is now correct. So both lane can go into both lane. So let me go back, right click on the node, control plan, So select first the phase we are going to work on. So this phase is this, and this phase will be called every cycle. So if we go to actuated, we can set a lot of things up here. Let's not go into a lot of detail, but recall means that it will be called, how is it going to be called every cycle, or what kind of call it has. So no means it is not called if there is no demand. If there is demand, it will be called. If you select min, it will be called in every cycle, even if there is no demand for it, but only for the minimum time. So let's just set up the minimum green time for to 6 seconds for both phase. And let me OK it, and let's place the detectors. So detectors can be placed by clicking on this icon here on the left. Just click that, and just click that. The order doesn't matter. The location should be near to the stop line, I think, in this example. So it should pick up the cars that park or wait before the stop line. By these little black dots, you can change the size. You can change the size, and you can assign it to one lane or both lanes. You can also change the length of it. So if I go back now again to the control plan, select the first phase, I go to detectors, and then I click add, and then I select this detector, because for my main first phase, this is the detector. I'm going to leave these settings just by default. Let's not go into detail here because it's not important at the moment. Click OK. Sorry, not OK. Just select the other phase. The phase duration comes from here, so you don't change it. If you change that, that will update your little graph here. So just leave it as it is. It's not that important. These are the important settings here. So minimum green 6, max out 23. It by default comes from the length here. So that's why the cycle time, if it is maintained, if all phases are called to the max time, then you will have your 60-second cycle time. But usually it's not going to happen. So 6 and 23, and then click add, and let's select this detector. So now what we did, let's just go through. So we still have recall now. We put the minimum green as 6, and we did the same here, minimum green 6, and we set the detectors for both. Now, what we want to do, we want to put the recall to minimum. So what this means is, every cycle, this main phase will be called, because I just want that green to be basically on. I want it to be always on when there is no demand on the other one. So once the demand goes from the other one, I want it to go back to the main phase, and let's just keep it green. You can also keep or select this hold. So what it does, it will keep the phase on as long as there is a demand for a conflicting phase. So in our case, basically, it will stay green even over this 25 max out time if there is no demand on the minor one. So as you can see here, you can tweak it a little bit. So if you don't want to hold this phase, once demand is over, while the detector stops seeing vehicles, it will lose the green, and then it will go the whole thing red. It will not call this one because there is no demand. It will go back. So it will just basically blinking with 6 seconds if there is no demand on it. So let's just do a test. So now I OK. I need to put it to the master control plan. Don't forget it. So you click add control plan item, and you select the control plan you just created. Click OK. And you also make sure that you go to the dynamic scenario and you put your master control plan here. And of course, you need to make sure that you put like the traffic demand and demand, and you also have traffic demand set up. So now, if I run the model, you will see that this comes on and it is green as long as there is a demand here. But the demand went away, so it went to green. So it goes back there, so it works perfectly fine. But if you unselect hold, what will happen is it goes away. Then it comes back. Okay, so now that it was demand there is going to be always again demand there. But it keeps coming back from its own. So it goes red, then it goes to intergreen, then it comes back automatically regardless of any demand. What you can also do is you can take out hold and put rest in red. So what this means, if you click no, so if you don't call this phase every time, let me just show that as an example, it will keep the intersection in all red. This can be good for situations where like it's nighttime and you have a signal that it's red everywhere, or not nighttime, just very low demand. So you can always revert back to all red, and when a vehicle comes, then it doesn't need to pass any clearance time because it has already passed the clearance, so you can just keep green immediately. So there are these options for this simple one. As you can see, you can tweak the minimum green times, maximum green times. So if I take resting out, I put back hold, so it runs the way I want. And then you can still play around with these. I'm not going to go into detail like passage time and variable initial and gap reduction. Those are a bit, I don't think it's important for this stage. Let's go through them, through those in a later video. So this is for today. As you can see, it is very simple to set it up. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions or any suggestions, and please consider liking and subscribing, and also visiting my Patreon page to support me if you want by a few dollars a month. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.